Welcome to VC Words on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I bring to you some VC terms that could be confusing and might be a little bit of a hurdle for you in your capital raise. And so my goal is to instill confidence and help you, go on with your raise and raise some capital. So today we're talking about convertible note and safe agreements. What are the differences between the two and some pros and cons? But before we jump in, I just want to note that I am not an attorney nor an accountant. So there is no legal or financial advice in here. This is just my opinion. And I encourage you, as always, to hire a great attorney for your raise and also an accountant to help you through your executing your raise. Okay, so let's dive into it. Convertible note versus safe agreement. So at a high level, convertible note is a loan, it is debt, and a safe agreement is a simple agreement for future equity. Both convert into equity when you do an equity raise. Okay. So when you further down the line, when you do an equity round, what's called a priced round, when there's a share price attached to it, these instruments will convert. So at a high level, a safe agreement and a convertible note are really easy to use when you're early stage, pre-revenue, pre-product, or early product, early in the revenue. And usually pre-seed and seed round, you will see both of these used frequently. You will see convertible notes typically used in between equity raises, the further down the line you get in your fundraising journey. So a safe agreement is basically saying someday the investor dollars will convert into equity. There is typically with a safe agreement, there is not a triggering event, even though you can write that in, but there's not really a forcing mechanism into that safe agreement where, investors will get their money back. It's not like convertible note where they're automatically going to convert. So it is really a simple agreement that someday it is like a handshake on the back of a napkin. It's a more formalized napkin that you will give the investor equity in your company. With a safe agreement, there's usually, we're just going to talk about today, a pre-money valuation cap, ValCap for short. And that's just basically stating that no matter what in the future equity raises that you do, no matter what your valuation is at that point, your safe agreement investors, when this converts, it will convert into equity with this valuation cap where it sits today. Maybe it's $5 million. Okay, so it's ever written into the document. You can also offer a discount, which is a discount on the share price at a future date. And as I mentioned before, you can also write in a triggering event like you're doing an equity raise, which basically forces the safe agreement to convert. Okay. With a convertible note, it is a loan. There is interest attached. There can also be dividends that are paid out, and there's usually a discount. And that all then converts into equity once you do an equity raise. Okay. So there can be a valuation cap as well. There can be other things attached to your convertible note. You can be forced to convert after a certain number of years. You can put the option in to potentially buy back the convertible note as a founder. So there's a lot more that you can do and write into a convertible note than a safe agreement. Again, I am not an attorney. I am not an accountant. I highly recommend that you get both. Hire either a fractional CFO and also an attorney to advise you in what makes the most sense for your raise. You need to model out how this impacts this raise that you do now, how the terms impact your future dilution, and are you comfortable at wherever that lands? It's a very personal thing for a founder. The pros and cons for each are, the pro is really for either, you don't have to value your company. A safe agreement can keep things simple. It's in the title, right? And so as a founder, it can make it a little bit easier to understand what's happening. Convertible notes are typically more investor friendly, and so it might be easier to get an investor to agree to a convertible note versus a safe agreement, even though safe agreements are becoming more and more commonplace, as time goes on. So investors are getting more comfortable with safe agreements. So it really is something that's up to you, your accountant, and your attorney to decide really what makes the most sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer. I know that these terms can be confusing, so that's why I'm here. And check out next week because we're going to actually be talking about pre-money versus post-money cap on safe agreements. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that means for you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.